Alright, welcome back guys to another YouTube video. Today we are going to give my predictions on the Slush Cup in Grand Valera this year. Slush has been one of the sickest things in freestyle skiing in the past, ever since it came out, to be honest. And I remember as a kid watching like the most insane games between like Russ Henshaw and Evan McEachran and all the Slush Cups leading up to this one. And this one is a banger. So I'm really excited to see it. All the games drop on Monday. I figured since we have the bracket here, all the riders and athletes in it, that I'll give a little prediction, a little breakdown of who I think is going to win this event, because there's some insane riders here. And this is actually, there's a lot of close homies and Canadian riders in this comp as well, or in Slush Cup this year. So I'm excited to see that and just some insane overall riders. So, Jesus, I'm dying. With all that being said, here's the lineup. I'm going to go to the brackets because they dropped the brackets here. This is the bracket for the Slush Cup. This is the first year in Slush Cup they have a girls event, which is really sick. They have 4 girls competing for, I guess, Slush Cup girls title. And a bunch of guys, I believe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 16 guys, I believe, competing for the Slush Cup. And it's in Grand Valera, as always, which is, you know, an insane spot to have it. The park there looks absolutely, like, next level. And just really fun, because the T-bar, rope tow vibe, like, that stuff gets the blood flowing. So right off the bat, they actually had a wildcard spot for this Slush Cup event. They had, like, an open jam format. They posted about it on YouTube. And then they are having whoever won that, or whoever, you know, did the best. I don't know how... I should watch the video, but I don't know how it was, like, picked. But whoever did the best, basically... they get the last spot into the Slush Cup bracket, which is really, really cool. It's not just invite only. They actually have an open spot for somebody to try to compete and get into the event. But off the beginning, we have I or L, Sarah, Ryan Stevenson, Max Moffitt, F. Klein, Kura Kavisto, Matei, Johan Berg, Mikkel B in the top bracket. And then we have Evan McEachran, Sebastian Scherver, Alex Henderson, who is my dark horse for this event, and Ferdinand Dahl, who's, you know, we all know Ferdinand Dahl, A. Moreno, and Valentin Morel, and Chris McCormick, and Nico Porteous. So some familiar faces in Slush Cup and in Slush in general, and some new faces. And for the chicks, we have Taylor Lundquist, Annie I'm sorry if I butchered these names, Kuma, A. Devile, and R. Warnick. I don't know all their first names off by heart, so some of them just could put like that. But anyways, the brackets look really, really good. If you guys know anything about any of these riders that are here, you're going to know that this is a banger Slush Cup. And I guess we can go look at all the beautiful faces here. We got everybody lined up. It's going to be a good one. So right off the bat, predictions for the girls. We're going to kick things off with predictions for the girls for this Slush Cup. There's a couple of them that I don't really know their style too much, or I haven't seen a whole lot of the riding. I do know Taylor Lundquist. Taylor Lundquist has been doing a lot of street with line and stuff like that. I think, honestly, like, she's going to have a really, really good shot at this, just because she has, like, some really good, some creative tricks, some street tricks that, like, when you're doing tricks on street rails and you're bringing them into a park, it's significantly easier. So she's definitely going to have a step up there over the other girls who aren't necessarily riding as much street as her. Just the gnarlier rail tricks on the bigger features are going to be less intimidating for her. A. Devlin, I'm not really sure about her riding style. I could look into it, but you know, this is a quick on-the-fly YouTube video, so we're not going to look into it too much. Annie Kamura. I believe she is the girl that rides for Red Bull that used to ride moguls and has switched over to park and has been absolutely destroying it on rails and just in park in general lately. I think it's going to be between Taylor. I think it's just going to be Taylor's show, to be honest. I think they're going to shut it down. But anything can happen. It's going to be a tough comp for sure for the girls. And I'm excited to see it. We haven't had a whole lot of Slush girls games, and not with this much, definitely not a bracket, not with this much on the line, but I think just from the fact that Taylor's been, you know, hitting the gnarlier features in the street and stuff like that, and also has a really all-around good rail game. And it's at Grand Valera, so there's not really a jump. I don't know if there's a jump this year, but I'd highly doubt if there's a jump of any size this year. So I think that's going to play into Taylor's game too, because she doesn't have to worry about anything but the rails, and she's pretty good at that. So, all right, off to the men. It's a quick little breakdown, guys. Basically, the bottom bracket has some, man, they both have some heavy hitters. I don't know what bracket's a little more stacked. I would say, I don't know, man. That's actually really hard. They actually did a really good job of laying these brackets out, so they're evenly matched. And I don't wonder how they like decide. I don't know if it's just like random draw, but they're very evenly matched. Like throughout each bracket to get to the finals is really insane. We'll start with the top bracket, and I'll go with who I think is going to win which ones and move on, and then I'll go to the bottom bracket as well. So right off the bat, Kura Kavisto is one of my personal favorite skiers, and his ski control, similar to Matej, is next level. Like, this guy has he just has an insane ski control. And he is really, really, really good in all aspects of skiing, from pretzels to butters to jump tricks to tech rail tricks. I think it's going to be really hard to beat him. If Matej makes it out of the first round against Ryan Stevenson, which we'll get into in a second, but it's going to, anybody in this bracket, anybody in this contest is going to have a really hard time beating Kura. So I think Kura is going to take the first game. That's just my, right off the bat, my first impression. I don't really know who Sarah is. I haven't seen a whole lot of his skiing. Kura is just locked in, man. Kura is a really, really good. Like, if you watched his clips from last year's Super Unknown, Level 1 Super Unknown, like, the guy has insane rail tricks and butter combos and stuff that, like, really will take you a couple tries to even get close to doing. So Kura Kavisto for sure through to the first round of the semifinals, in my opinion. And this is no knock on any of the guys skiing. I'm just kind of going off what I think, but like, everybody here is absolutely insane. So anything could happen. Who knows? Ryan Stevenson, we've seen him in a lot of Slush games. He's been skiing super, super well. He's a guy like me who used to compete in the NORAMs and in the World Cups as well. And now it's kind of transitioned more to like Jib League and doing stuff like this. And dude, he's been crushing it in Slush. And he's actually had some really, really good Slush games. I just don't see how he's going to beat Matej Savancer, because it's Matej. That's literally it. Matej is just, I mean, Ryan Stevenson has really good rail tricks and good jump tricks, but Matej can keep up with those tricks. And he has a lot more in the tank, I think. And I think Matej's gonna push through this game. I do think it's gonna be a decent game. I would say like Matej like 5-3 or 5-2 against Ryan Stevenson. But Matej's gonna be hard to beat for literally anybody. Same as Kura. But I think Matej's gonna take that first round. Next we have Johan Berg versus Max Moffat. Johan Berg, an absolute OG in the game. I mean, I've seen this guy play Slush forever. I've seen this guy ski forever. He's done some insane stuff. And I mean, he's really, really good. However, Max is also very, very good. And I think Max, with like the rail tricks he has and also just the pretzels, and I mean, he has some really, really nice bios and flips and axes on and off rails. You guys have seen Max in all the other Slush games. Like, he was doing like bio 810s onto rails. Like, that shit's hard. That's not like first try stuff. So I think Max is going to get to the first round against Johan Berg. And then I think I'm just going to go straight off the bat with Mikko BK, because he's been crushing it lately. Like, all of the Jib League stuff, all the skiing in general, going to X Games, he's been just really dialed in. And the guys' rails are super good. So I'm going to put Mikko B, Max Moffat, Matej, and Kura through to the semis. And then when it comes down to Kura versus Matej, we've already seen this game play out already in a previous Slush match. Kura played Matej, and I mean, Kura did a good job, but Matej really took over that game. Could have been an off day for Kura, absolutely. I think Kura probably would have done better in a lot of the times he played Matej, but Matej definitely won that game by, quite a bit. And I do think he's going to get the job done against Kura in this semifinals. That would be my prediction. I would say it's a close game, though. I would say it's like 5-4 Matej, and Kura gives him a really, really tough run for his money, but I do think Matej gets it done. His air awareness, like, I know there's not really jumps here, and in the last game there was jumps, which I definitely think helped Matej, but he will find things to do weird flips off of that is going to be hard for everybody else. Like, whether it's a rail takeoff or like over like a railing or something like that, like, he'll figure it out, and he'll do some weird like flip stuff that's going to be hard for everybody, and his rails are super good. So Matej through to the semifinals, and then I think between Max and Mikko B, Max gets the job done. Max has the rail tricks to keep up with Mikko, and I think he has a little bit of the funky like pretzel flips and just a little bit more tech rail tricks than Mikko B has. Mikko's got like insane style. Same with Max, but Mikko's got insane style. But I just think Max has a little bit more tech rail tricks that will get him past Mikko B, and he's super consistent as well. Based on that prediction, it's going to be Matej versus Max in the semifinals, going for the finals of Slush Cup. This is really tough because Max is super good and Matej is super good, but dude, just with the way Matej's been skiing lately, I really just don't see... I can see it being a really, really tight game. I think Matej gets it done. I think Matej, again, he just has the weird tricks that nobody else does, like the Baron Flip, the Tokyo Drifts, the Tokyo Drift 2's on, the nose butters. Max has a lot of these tricks, but Matej also has a really good rail. Like, just Matej has like a really, really good ability to spin both ways in and out of rails and add nose taps and tail taps that most people aren't used to doing. And if it's your first time trying it, it's really, really hard. So I think Matej gets past Max and into the finals, but that's going to be a really tough game. Not sure how that goes. We'll have to see. I'm going to say, again, another tight one for Matej, 4-5 Matej. All right, into the other bracket. We have Evan McEachran versus A. Moreno. Evan McEachran's going to take this one. He's just too well-rounded. And then we have Sebastian Scherber versus Valentin Morel. Valentin Morel is one of the steeziest skiers you'll see out there. He's like kind of this new era Henrik Harlow with big tricks, and it's really, really sick to see him compete in the World Cups and all the other contests. I do think that Sebastian is going to be a little bit too much for Valentin, just because Sebastian has such insanely tech rail tricks, and he's got good jump tricks, although, and again, I don't think there's a big jump there, but he has such tech rail tricks from all the tricks he's been doing in his backyard, like his whole career. His rail tricks are just next level, man. And consistent rail tricks. He might not have like the same style as somebody like Valentin, but when it comes to Slush, the style doesn't necessarily matter as much. It's more just like, can you execute the trick? And Sebastian absolutely can execute the trick, and he does have a good style. He's definitely a really, really crisp skier, and his rail tricks and like just technique wise and technical difficulty wise, very, very hard to beat. So I think Sebastian is going to move on to face Evan. And then Alex Henderson versus Chris McCormick. Alex Henderson, again, like I said, kind of my dark horse for Slush Cup. He's one of the homies on the Canadian Next Gen team with me, and I've been skiing with him all year. This guy is criminally underrated, like not underrated, just unknown. He's such a good skier. Like he is absolutely cracked on jumps, cracked on rails, and he has such a deep bag. But he's facing somebody like Chris McCormick, who, similar to Sebastian, has insanely tech rail tricks. Like if we look at some of the Instagram clips Chris has been putting out lately, like dude, he's doing like front 3 swap Pretz 4 and a flat down, and just both way 4 Pretz 2s, and just insane rail combos. Really, really tech rail tricks from Chris. Like his jump tricks are very good as well, but he has really, really tech, really, really good swap combos on rails. And again, that's a hard person to beat, similar to Sebastian, but Alex has all those, and Alex very consistent, and he's just goated because he's one of the homies. So I do think Alec is going to get through this because he does have like a big bag. Like he's got the tail butters, the nose butters, and he's got the backslides, and he's got all the jump tricks. And he could definitely, like if he has to flip onto rail or something, he could. I think he's going to take Chris in this match, but I do think it's going to be definitely a tough match for Alec. But I think he'll get it done just because he's very well rounded. So whatever Chris sets, he's gonna have a good chance of making. And then he's got some weird tricks that I don't think Chris will have tried before that he could probably take advantage of. And then we have Ferdinand Dahl versus Nico Porteous up next. Nico Porteous is cracked, actually. He's really, really good. But Ferdy is like, I mean, we've seen him skiing in Jib League lately. He hasn't lost a single thing since switching from comp mode just to riding and building and doing all the stuff he does with Capiche and everything. He hasn't lost anything. His rail tricks are insane. And Nico Porteous is really, really good at rails still, but he is coming from the pipe, and he's a pipe skier. And I just think that disadvantage of, not spending your whole life skiing rails like consistently or as much as Ferdy has is going to be hard to overcome. And Ferdy's just like, Ferdy's probably one of the harder guys in this whole bracket as well. I think Ferdy's going to get it done. So that leaves Evan McEachran versus Sebastian Scherber, which is this one is a pick 'em actually. This one's pretty tough because Evan has got diabolical like technical rail tricks, and so does Sebastian. That one's so hard to pick. That's like a toss-up almost because they both can do like the hardest tech rail tricks. I'm going to go with Evan just because he's been around the game longer, and I feel like he has a little bit of this like maturity and consistency in his skiing and this competition mindset, although Sebastian's really good at competing as well. But I do think Evan can be savvy enough and can really make these tricks happen when it counts. We've seen him in Slush games before, like all the way up to like the Russ Henshaw game I talked about earlier this like video, where I think he won that Slush Cup like 8-10 years ago. Evan's been cracked at skiing forever, and I do think that this is just something that like a little bit of that like performance under pressure and a little bit of that like just experience and seniority will probably get done. Although Sebastian could definitely easily get it done as well. But I'm gonna go with Evan in this one. And then up next we have Alec versus Ferdy. Alec, bro, again, my dark horse for this. I want him to win the whole thing. I don't know if he can get past Ferdinand Dahl, but I'm praying and I'm hoping because it's a really, really tough one for him. I do think that he has an advantage against Ferdinand Dahl just based on like recency of his level of skiing, because Ferdinand Dahl's been doing it more just for fun and building and doing everything else lately, whereas Alec's been trying to do freestyle skiing to compete in World Cups. Like he has been competing in World Cups, but he's been doing it at the highest level competition wise and pushing himself competition wise and doing really, really tech rail tricks and jump tricks for contests. Whereas Ferdy's been more doing like, not necessarily like easier swerve tricks, but like tricks that like, you know, look good and are stylish and stuff like that for video content and everything like that. And again, when it comes to Slush, it doesn't necessarily matter how the trick looks as long as it's executed. So I think that'll give Alec a little advantage in like technical difficulty of the tricks that he's going to have to execute. Ferdy has some insane like, you know, switch blender twos on and like backslides and stuff like that. But I do think Alec is somebody that could figure these out. I do think Alec can figure these out. So I think I'm going to take Alec there, but by a super close game, 5-4. Maybe they play for like 3 or 4 hours. Who knows? And then we have Alec versus Evan in the finals. Again, two of the Canadian homies. That's my guess. I don't see how either of them win. It's so tough, dude. These are going to be some insane games. These are some insane matchups. I'm going to go... Dude, if Alec and Evan play, it's going to be a really tough game. Like, it's going to be either one person cooks the other person or it goes on forever. This is a comment here, possibly the most stacked Canadian lineup ever. It is. Like, I mean, I have Alec and Evan against each other for the semifinals in this bracket. So I'm going to go with Alec just because that's what my gut wants to tell me. I want this bro to win because I know like he even missed this contest that I'm at right now to be in Slush Cup, which obviously you would want to do because it's Slush Cup. And Evan's already won a Slush Cup before, so it's time to give Alec his turn. I do think Alec has possibly an advantage with like the backslides and stuff. I feel like he does a bit more of that than Evan. I also feel like if there's some really small jumps or some things that are like possible to flip on and off of rails, I think that Alec is more willing to take that risk to win this contest than Evan would be, just based on Alec is just wants to send and wants. I know like because like, you know, Alec getting into Slush, he's going to want to do everything he would sacrifice his body to win this game, like no questions asked. And Evan, I think, would too, but there might be some, like, a little bit of doubt, like, yo, do I really want to try, like, a cork 9 on this down rail? Who knows, right? With that being said, I do think Evan's probably a little bit more consistent skier. So when it's crunch time, I do think Evan probably would, like, get that, like, whatever, what's it called? Last trick redemption. I think he would clutch that up a lot. Alec might have a little bit of issues there. I do think, I'm going to go with Alec on this one. I'm going to say Alec versus Evan, and I'm going to say Alec wins. Very, very close game. I guess that leaves up to Alec versus Matej. So Alec versus Matej, I want to pick Alec just because he's the homie, but you can't really go against Matej. Quickly to wrap this up, final prediction, I'm going to go Matej beats Alec. Really, really close game. However, I could totally see Alec winning this contest with like some just tech rail tricks and just making it really like just defending against Matej's tricks all the time. Or just like keeping the step for a long time. But I do think Matej is crazy enough to do like switch double front flips out of something. And I think that's something that Alec might not be able to get. So I'm going to go with Matej winning Slush Cup. I mean, that's a pretty long-winded, like, hey, like, let's look at the map. Like, Matej's one of the better skiers. But Matej, I think, will have troubles working his way through this bracket. And I think if he does meet Alec, who I think might make it to the finals, if he can get through Evan or Ferdy, I think he's going to have a hard time against Alec, and I really could see Alec winning this. But with all that being said, I'm going to go Matej 5-4, and we're praying for an Alec W, but it is what it is. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to do a little breakdown on the Slush Cup, because I think it's kind of cool to do like a prediction video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Deuces.